We're gonna. Okay, good. So let us go to today's Chumash. Actually, we're a couple days behind. So we're going to go to Sunday's Chumash as we begin the new Torah portion for the first section of the Torah portion for Sunday's section of Chumash. So we learn a number of interesting stuff. Stay tuned. One thing I'm not sure about, I'll share with you when we get there, but stay tuned as we learn today's Chumash together. Okay. Or previous day's Chumash, beginning of the parsha. V'daber Hashem el Moshe leimer. Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, God spoke to Moses and said to Moshe Rabbeinu, he said, Daber el Aaron, Moses, go speak to Aaron, v'amarta a love, and say to your brother Aaron, v'ha'aloscha es haneros, when you light up the lamps on the menorah, el mul pnei ha-menorah, the 7 lamps should cast their light to the center of the menorah. The 7 candles shall light. Let me explain that, but first, I got to talk about a few things Rashi shares with us. What it's going to talk about Aaron lighting the menorah, right? We all know that there was one of the big parts in the temple, and the Beis Hamikdash was the Mishkan was lighting the menorah. Why does it fall in over here? Why are you talking about the menorah lighting right here? So if you remember the previous day's Chumash, Rashi says it'll make sense to you. What happened before? We learned at length in the previous parsha all the gifts that the leaders of all the tribes brought, right? They brought, remember, this silver bowl and that silver bowl, and they brought these animals and 5 of these and 5 of those, and all the leaders of all the 12 tribes were bringing gifts as the leadership of the tribe. And guess who was left out? Guess who felt left out? Guess who didn't bring? Aaron HaKohen, Aaron the high priest, the Levite tribe was not involved in bringing. Everybody else was bringing. So Aaron was kind of sad. Rashi tells us that he wasn't part of it. Every other leader brought, not him. So Hashem said to him, Aaron, by your life, yours is greater than theirs. You lighting the menorah, that is the greatest thing that could be. What are you sad about? You're doing something that tops out all the other gifts that were brought. You're the one who will light the menorah every single day. And that is very, very special, obviously. Now, 2 other Rashis on the verse, or one other verse. It says, when you light up the lamps. And Rashi tells us, what does it mean when you light up the lamps? There's 2 interpretations, both interesting ones. One interpretation is that when you light it, you got to stay there and make sure that the candles will be lit. You ever lit the menorah in your house? You know, if you don't light it well, it goes out. So you have to light the candle in a way that the flame will continue to go. Not just when you light it, there's a little bit of fire there, but light it in a way that the candle will stay and be lit. I feel like there's a very powerful message here, which I've seen in other places. When we inspire others, when we inspire our children, when we inspire our friends, keep Judaism, become inspired Jews, you can't just light them in a way that as long as the rabbi is giving a sermon and the person's there and getting inspired, he's an inspired Jew. No. We have to inspire another Jew that he's lighting on his own, that he's so inspired, he's so motivated, that even when he's not there, the rabbi's not there, the teacher's not there, the parent's not there, the kid stays inspired because he's been really inspired and really in touch. And that is a beautiful message from Aaron, lighting the menorah, lighting in a way that it will go up constantly. Another very interesting interpretation about something we have not learned about in the vessels, although we spoke a lot about the vessels of the Beis Hamikdash, I don't believe we spoke about this point, which we're going to mention now. And that is that when you light the menorah, you should have steps. So we always talk about the menorah and the menorah and how it was built, and we spoke about the knobs and the flowers and all that other kind of stuff that was inside the menorah, but we never spoke about the steps. So this kind of says go up, but when you go up to the menorah, meaning that there was also an interesting, like a step stool. There was steps that the Kohen would climb up on the steps, and he would go up to light the menorah as he would climb up on the steps, and he used those to light the menorah. So it had this kind of step system when he would go up in order to light the menorah. Another very interesting thing you probably didn't know about the menorah, or we might have mentioned in Rashi a while ago, that they would light, it wasn't like our menorahs, that there was 4 and 4 on both sides and the shamash in the middle. It was 3 and 3 on both sides with the shamash with the middle branch in the middle, right? So 3 and 3 on both sides and the shamash in the middle. So he would light all the candles that were 3 and 3 on both sides. he would make the wicks that the candles should be shining towards the center of the candelabra, so the center of the menorah. Not like maybe other candelabras, which they would maybe want to light up the room. They would put the lights in different directions, right? But they would make all the fires and the wicks and the menorah shining that the light should be kind of going towards the center. What was the point of that? So he said something very interesting is that it's an interesting thing they want to avoid by lighting the candles being lit towards the center of the candelabra. As Rashi explains, is that don't ever think that Hashem needs us to light a menorah in order to bring light, that God needs our light. That's incorrect to say that Hashem needs our light. Hashem does not need our light. It's to show that the light is shining among the Jewish people, but not that the light, in other words, they don't need the candelabra to bring light into the Mishkan. God, and therefore, when they would set it up in a way, it wouldn't be set up as a normal candelabra, which maybe be shining light around the whole room. All the light went towards the center, to the middle of the candelabra. And so that is the end of verse number 2. So God tells Aaron, again with a lot of Rashis here, explaining that Aaron, you're greater. You bring the menorah. Don't worry. Don't be sad that you're not participating in all the other princes of each tribe. You're participating in that because you have this unique job of lighting the menorah. And Rashi describes there were steps there, and they would light the candles towards the center and light the candle in a way that it could all go up that by itself, even when you leave it. Those are a number of things on the menorah. Vayas Cain Aaron, verse 3, and Aaron did not change exactly how God told him. We see amazing things that the Torah keeps on telling us, that everybody's doing everything how God said it should be done. They do it exactly. Aaron was a special person, followed to the letter of the law to the T. He lit them towards the center of the menorah. He lit up the candles. Exactly how God commanded his older brother Moshe. Verse number 4, and I guess that we're talking about the menorah. It's going to re-describe the menorah to you, how we learned about it already a little while ago, some of the unique things about the features about the menorah, unlike any other of the things that were made in the temple. So what are they? This is the way the menorah was done. Right on here, Rashi says, when it says this is the form of the menorah, what does it mean, this? So right away, Rashi says there's something different here about anything else. Hashem actually showed Moshe a vision of the menorah, what he wants the menorah to look like. Maybe everything else, God described in words, in prophecy to Moses, what he wanted everything to look like. However, Moshe, interestingly, Rashi says here, was having a difficult time understanding what exactly the menorah wanted to look like. Maybe there's so many knobs and so many flowers and whatever. So it says, this is the menorah, image of the menorah. God actually, could imagine, made him a projection, like a projector, a screen, and he showed Moshe what, fascinatingly, this is the image. Everything else he was able to explain. This, he had to show him an image of what he wanted the menorah to look like. Next thing is miksha. Is zahav. It was hammered out work. Remember, we learned this when we were learning about how it was made unique. It wasn't allowed to be soldered together like normal people when they make jewelry, right? If you go to your local jeweler and you want something that's made out of a number of pieces, how you can buy a silver or gold menorah today, it's obviously going to be soldered together. This had to be taken out of a block of pure gold, and you had to hammer it out in order for it to everything to come from one original block and not soldered together. Another interesting regulation regarding how this had to be made. Ad yerecha ad pircha, from its base, from the bottom, from its base until its flower, all the way from the bottom to the top. Everything had to be from one block. Rashi tells us over here about the foot, that the bottom of the menorah was like this dome with feet. I think I said it with feet, with little feet on the bottom, like it sat on this like little I don't know, upside down bowl or something like that, and it had feet on the bottom of it, just like Rashi says the fancy candelabras that are sitting in front of very fancy houses and stuff like that. They would sit on this thing with little feet, and everything was made out of one block of gold. Asher hera Hashem as Moshe, that God showed Moshe, even the flowers, like Rashi says, even the long stem, everything had to be hammered out from the original block of gold, from top to the bottom. And that is how Moshe made the menorah. Okay, those are all the Rashis. Now, one more Rashi adds one more thing. Actually, they did not end up really making the menorah. Really, either you could say it was made by Bezalel, that the verse is finishing saying, but there's another interpretation to say that they, even with all that, they still couldn't make it. And Hashem ended up making the menorah for them. It was too hard for them to do. So they threw the block of gold into the fire, and magically Hashem was the one who had to end up building the menorah for them. So very interesting. Another unique thing about this item is that it actually was made by Hashem and not by miracle, and not made by the Jewish people building the rest of maybe they put the gold together, they put it in the fire, but then the menorah, according to some commentaries, was actually made just by throwing it into the fire. And that, my friends, is the end of the first half of today's class about Aaron, again, because he was sad that he didn't bring a gift with the rest of the leaders. So Hashem tell them, look, you are doing something very special. Don't be sad about everybody else. You are the 13th tribe, your own tribe, the Levite presenting the Kohanim, the Leviim, and you will be lighting the menorah. And now we're going to talk about the Levites, how they were, we mentioned this the day before, continue going back to the topic from the previous Chumash, last week's Chumash, about the uniqueness of the Levites being chosen to represent the rest of the Jewish people. So let's see inside. Hashem says to Moshe, saying, next comment, take out the Levites, take the Levites from among the Jewish people, and purify them. And Rashi says, well, how is Moshe supposed to take them? What does it mean, take them? As a number of times we already had in the Chumash, persuade them, sweet words, tell them you're so lucky that you become the representatives of Hashem, the attendants of the Kohanim. This is, tell them what a good job, be a good salesman, I guess. Hashem is telling Moshe, sell the Leviim on their special job that they have, that they get to be the attendants in the Mishkan. They're very lucky to be there. Okay, so that is verse 6. Verse 7, this is, how do you take them? What do you do with them? You have to purify them. Put on them the ashes of the red heifer, which is used for people that have been in contact with a dead body, because the Levites might have gone to funerals. Or actually, I saw somewhere it says that if you remember the sad story after the golden calf, what happened? Moses told the Levites that they should kill anyone who there were witnesses to and warning to people that were involved with the golden calf. So now the Levites are impure because they have actually been part of touching dead bodies. They've killed people as they were supposed to by the order of Hashem. So now they're impure. So how can they now go into the temple and represent the Jewish people? So the first thing that has to be done for the Levites to join the team of leadership that's going to bring to purify, to serve in the temple, to be servants in the Mishkan, to carry the stuff, they have to be purified. So everybody in the Levites, all these people that were going to serve, had to have the ashes of the red heifer sprinkled on them to get rid of the impurity from being near a dead body. Not just that, they have to do something very unique, which you usually don't do by a person who's purifying himself from being involved with a dead body. Ve'aviru tar, take a shaver, as kol basarim, and shave off their whole body, all the hair that's on their body, they should shave off their head. Now, where do we see that a person shaves off his whole body? There's one other case. You know where it is? By a leper, a person that's getting rid of leprosy, he does go, not just does he go to the mikvah, but he goes through a good shave, gets everything shaved off, all his hair shaved off in order to become pure. Now, the Levites, you have to remember, they're replacing all the other Jews. What did the other Jews do? The other Jews served idols. So they became at a very level of unholiness. They were replacing the other Jews that were kind of in the level of leprosy. This is how I saw one of the commentaries explain it, this Rashi over here. And therefore, not just did they require, as a person goes to a funeral, to go to the mikvah or even get your body sprinkled with the ashes of the red heifer, they required a level of shaving their hair just like a leper, because they were which a leper is like a dead person. Now that you're coming back to the Jewish people, the leper, he's coming back to the Jewish people, he needs to shave all his hair. So to here, the Levites are replacing people who serve the golden calf, and therefore they need to go through that. In addition to having the red heifer ashes sprinkled on them, they also need to have their hair all shaved off like a leper. They should also wash their garments, and they will become pure. So the Levites, they want to start serving, they need to have everything we mentioned and the whole system, and also go through the shaving process like we explained there. And what do? They bring two sacrifices. Okay, again, their sacrifices are unique. They're not sacrifices we're going to see in history. The sacrifices are unique that they're going to bring a bull for a sin offering. Really very unoften do we bring a bull. I think maybe on if a Kohen Gadol or for high priest sin, in one of those cases, you bring a bull as a sin offering. Otherwise, it's a smaller animal. But again, they're representing who? People who sinned with the golden calf. And therefore, they need a very strong sacrifice to represent them for forgiveness. And another thing is, if I understand correctly, I looked at this quickly, the sin offerings, the Kohanim would eat certain parts, I believe, of the sin offering. This one, because it's representing what? The sin of the golden calf that was done, we don't want anybody eating it, and it's going to be burnt, just like the burnt offering. Let's see over here. Again, so two differences. A, most sin offerings are eaten by the Kohanim, not this time, not when it's representing forgiveness of the golden calf. B, the sin offerings usually, I don't know, a goat or a sheep or something like that. No, we need you to bring a bull now. Why? Because you're representing which sin? The sin of the golden calf. Okay. Verse 8, they should take a young bull, and the meal offerings that come along, right? When the regular bull, you bring another gift together with it. The meal offering, blul b'Hashem, mixed with oil. Parsheni, I bring a second bull, exactly like the burnt offering, even though it's a sin offering, but you're going to copy the system of the burnt offering. And bakar tikach lechatas is a sin offering, and you're not going to eat it, Mr. Kohen, because this is representing a very heinous crime, the crime of the golden calf, which we know we're suffering about us for all of history, and therefore do not eat from it. And then you will take the Levites. Another very interesting thing is going to take place over here with what we're saying. You will bring the Levites in front of the tent of meeting. Take all the Levites, so all these Levites, at least the ones that are serving, and bring them to the tent of meeting. And I need all the Jews there. You gotta make a massive, like a rally over here, have all the Jewish people there. And Rashi says, why do we need the Levites all there and all the Jewish people there when you're nominating the Levites instead of the firstborns because of the sin of the golden calf? And he says, listen, because the Levites are representing who? They're representing all the Jewish people. So all Jewish people got to be there at this event to watch. The Levites are kind of even being brought as a sacrifice. You'll see in a moment that they are working for the Jewish people. Who are they working for? They're switching from the firstborns to the Levites. And working for who? Working for all the Jewish people. So who's the owners of the Levites? All the Jewish people. So the owners have to be there by their sacrifice when the sacrifice is brought. So you got to have all the Jewish people there, have all the Levites there, because they're going to be nominated in the name of all their owners, all the rest of the Jewish people, in to serve for them. And you will bring close the Levites in front of Hashem. The Israelites would place their hands on the Levites. So the Levites are literally becoming almost like a sacrifice, replacing the firstborn. So all the regular Jews, I don't know how they would all put their hands on all the Levites' heads. It sounds a little interesting. And the next one's even more interesting. We know, what do we do with a sacrifice? We wave the sacrifice, right? So I'm not sure exactly how this was done. Guess what? It's going to say you should actually wave the Levites. Aaron should lift up the Levites. I'm not sure exactly what this means, that Aaron is lifting up the Levites, but it seems Rashi says that there was another case where the leprosy person brings a sacrifice that alive, you have to wave a alive animal sacrifice that he's bringing. Okay, so a lot of times it's a damn animal after it was slaughtered that we wave. No, but there's even a time which we wave a live animal, and here he's telling you have to wave the Levites, whatever that means. You have to lift them up, the Fnei Hashem before God, representing the rest of the Jewish people, and they shall serve Hashem in the Mishkan. So all the Jews are there watching their representatives, the Levites representing them. And then the Levites, who now were nominated by the Jewish people to be their servants, will place their hands on the animals that they brought, on the two bulls. One of them will be a sin offering, and one a burnt offering, to ask forgiveness for the Levites. And you should stand up the Levites in front of Aaron, in front of the Levites represent them to the Kohanim, to Aaron and his sons, and wave the Levites before Hashem. You should separate the Levites from the Jewish people, and the Levites will belong to me. And that is the end of today's Chumash. So we have in our class, we have Evan and Gregory, and from this Chumash that we see today over here, the Levites have forever been separated and belong to Hashem. From this Chumash, the story that we're reading here today, we have them in our class. Thank God over here. Unless I'm missing someone else who's a Levi, I know of Evan and Gregory are remembering right now. Okay, any questions? Shuki, not you. You're an Israelite like me, Shuki, right?